Hello everyone, my name is Winged Supernova and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. It's been a while. The last time I recorded was back in January. It is now March the 7th. So yeah, definitely been a while. I got out of my funk, I think, and I'm back to uploading every day. So here we go. We need to keep going with this game. I was very interested in the direction this was going because it felt like it was building up a bunch, and now we're finally at this great exhibition of London.
The grand end of the century Great Exhibition of London. Surely there is not a soul who has failed to hear of it. Wondrous new works of culture and
I wonder if this is based off of the World's Fair.
had converged on Hyde Park, welcoming over 50 million visitors. The last great hurrah of this century. Astonished and delighted people of all nations, and ended on a note of resounding success. But as regards to the terrible catastrophe that occurred during the festivities,
That's ominous.
you are aware my friend Mr. Herlock Sholmes had a hand in unraveling the matter. For from the shadows, it was he who earnestly unearthed the facts of the case. And like the centerpiece of the great exhibition, which rose high into the skies of Hyde Park, Sholmes's brilliant deductions, as clear and lofty as the Crystal Tower itself, brought the truth to light.
It's very vague. I actually appreciate that because it means that I have no idea what's going to happen here. Oh, no, we're still going.
Ground of the great exhibition, which is absolutely packed with people. The weather
Okay.
is unusually fine, and we're about to witness a most extraordinary scientific experiment.
I do love the filter that they've put on the voice so that it does sound like an old-timey radio broadcast. Ooh, and the film grain.
The 20th century will see steam engines and electrical power dominate the world.
What is that, like a teleporter? It looks like the teleporter from Nazi zombies in Call of Duty. Not that I haven't played one of those games in over 10 years, but still.
Horse-drawn carts will give way to the motor car. Ships will sprout wings and take to the skies.
They're talking about Zeppelins, probably.
And today, we showcase even more advanced technology. A glimpse into the future.
I actually learned the other day that there are only like 4 or 5 active blimps in the entire world, which is crazy to me because I thought that they were like dominating broadcasts of sports and things like that when I was a kid. So, it's just a little fun fact tidbit that I thought about.
A world first. A demonstration of my super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine.
Kinesis machine. Oh god, what the hell is that thing gonna do?
Disassembled by a pulse of high voltage electricity and beams to another location.
Oh, so it literally is a teleporter. I was gonna say, those things on the bottom of it kind of look like cartridges, like it's gonna fire a gun or something.
His body will be reassembled by a series of complex calculations exactly as it was before.
Who's going in? Oh, that poor son of a bitch. Well, I apologize to you and your mole, but you're about to become the victim of this case, I think. Oh, what is that?
In but a few moments from now, this gentleman will, in the blink of an eye, complete an incredible journey through the air. To arrive an instant later on the Crystal Tower behind you!
Oh boy. These animations are definitely something. Oh my god, the dance. He's so excited. Uh-oh. That sounded bad. What's the aftermath? I guess we'll find out in a minute. 22nd of October, 9:36 a.m., Sholmes's suite. Let's see if I remember how to do these voices. Well, this one's just my own.
Runo, are you listening?
Oh, sorry, what was that, Iris?
What's the matter with you? You've been miles away all morning. Didn't you like what I cooked for breakfast?
No, that's not it at all. What were we talking about again?
Today's paper! It's full of news about the Great Exhibition again.
Ah, yes, the Great Exhibition. I'd like to go sometime. Oh, seems kind of in the dumps, doesn't he?
You're really not your usual self today. You seem very down. Don't you agree, Hurley?
I think he's worse off. Did you say something, Iris?
Oh gosh, you're even more down.
There's a low-hanging fruit joke I could have made there, but I decided not to. Ah! When did you arrive, Mr. Naruhodo? I've been here for about half an hour already. We had breakfast together. What? Why didn't you mention it before? I, thought you might have known I was here? You know, because breakfast? Iris is quite right. You're clearly lacking in vim. So much so that I didn't notice your presence. Thanks. Of course, I could deduce the reason perfectly well with some simple observations. What? Let's see. Yes, for example, your tousled hair this morning, with all its unruly spikes. Clearly it can be deduced, therefore, that... let me stop you there, Mr. Sholmes, because I think I can see where this is going. My hair always looks like this. It always has. Ever since we first met, in fact. Oh, really? How interesting. It just doesn't look like a haircut as such, I suppose. Thanks again. I see he's back to his usual spirits, or maybe he's just trying to, like, mask. He seems a little odd, Sholmes does, because he can sometimes, you know, you can tell that something's wrong with him, and then he can just, you know, snap right back into the usual Herlock to try and, you know, alleviate your fears, or push the direction of the conversation somewhere else so you don't think about it anymore. It crossed my mind recently that it's been 6 months now.
6 months?
Since I was forbidden from working in court. So I've been wondering how much longer I'm going to be banned.
Oh, well, that would explain why you seem rather glum. Don't you agree, Hurley?
No, he's back to it. Did you say something, Iris? Ah, back to moping. Well, just another mystery on top of the pile, I guess. What's the matter with Mr. Sholmes today? He seems even more down in the dumps than me.
I know, and the Great Exhibition is opened. You'd think he'd be excited. Oh, why don't we all go see it together?
I want to, of course I do, but I can't, not for the time being. Why not? Why not? Why not? Because I'm a great detective after all. So you're embroiled in some tricky case that you can't be distracted from, is that it?
I don't remember hearing that you're working on a case, Hurley.
I suppose I should try to find out what's going on. Probably, you know, the big shit that we haven't been privy to until probably the last 3 cases of this game. Events 6 months ago. I want to know about this too, because I don't remember us being banned from the court. Half a year ago now, I took on the defense of a young girl in a trial heard at the Old Bailey. What at first seemed like a simple case of murder that took place at a London pawnbrokery. Oh, it was because of this case, huh? Turned out to be one part of a much more far-reaching plot that involved the British government. During the course of the trial, it was found that I made an unavoidable, yet at the same time unforgivable mistake. Oh, it's because we got McGilded off as his defense attorney, and he was actually, you know, one of the chief antagonists. That was a great case, by the way. Words faming. Words fail me. Okay, there's the first flub of the day. Words fail me. This situation is utterly deplorable. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, my lord. I will decide upon your fate following the conclusion of this trial. Of course, my lord. In the end, I had my right to represent people in court revoked. I was told I had to spend my time in research and study, so that's what I've been doing.
You have, haven't you, Runo? Reading all those big fat tomes about British law up in your room, and the notes about Sholmes's old cases. Brewing Iris's special blends of tea, fetching my daily bread for me. You've become something of a manservant around here. Start on the silverware next, Master Naruhodo. Well, I'm thinking of going to ask the powers that be to reconsider. Specifically Lord Strongheart at the British Supreme Court on Whitehall. I knew his name would come up eventually. Lord Strongheart?
Ah, the delightful Lord Chief Justice. Not my favorite fellow. He's not mine either, but he's the man I have to talk to, and probably either a victim or, like, one of the chief antagonists of this entire situation. He's the only one who can grant permission for me to courts again. I came to Britain to become the best lawyer I could. I can't do that just sitting around here. The whole of London has been swept up in this great exhibition, hasn't it? The most advanced science, the most modern technology, the finest works of art and feats of engineering. For the next 6 months, our capital will be showcasing these things, and the world will be watching. 6 months, huh? I thought it was only like a month-long thing, but apparently it's 6 months for this. Wow.
Oh, do you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to look down on London from one of those lovely balloons.
Look down on? Do you mean those things? Fly?
Yes, of course. They fly high in the sky and don't even need wings to do it. All you need is hot air.
But how? How does hot air have anything to do with flying? It makes no sense. I can't understand it at all.
That's true of a lot of new scientific discoveries. Most people can't understand them at first. But in 100 years' time, all these things will just be common knowledge.
Well, she's right about that. Smart girl. I suppose they might be.
Mind you, some of the science being demonstrated seems very questionable. Something went wrong on the open experimentation stage yesterday, apparently. There was a huge explosion. Still, I wish I'd seen it, though. I'd love to see how bad some of these scam experiments really are.
Says the innocent 10-year-old girl. Well, we're on the same page again. See here, every page of this paper carries some article or other about the Great Exhibition. Hey, evidence! But the brighter things shine, the darker the shadows that are cast behind them. Personally, I find myself drawn to the darkness, to the impenetrable. That is my proper atmosphere. Why don't you put on some fucking black lipstick and start singing My Chemical Romance then? Shadows cast behind? Is that a metaphorical way of referring to the back page of the paper? I suppose. Well, let's check it out. What do we got? What do we got? Ooh, the Reaper attacked. So many glowing reports about the Great Exhibition and everything that's going on there. Other than this rather gloomy looking one, that is. Wait, what?
What's the matter, Runo?
The Reaper attacked. That's Lord Van Zeeks. This must be what Mr. Sholmes was talking about. Does he know any more, I wonder? No, not the lost cat. No, I have to... It's gonna... Okay, that's disappointing. I guess I'll just slowly mash through this so I don't, you know, have my controller, the clacking of the sticks and everything in the microphone like I sometimes do. I've noticed that. Every article on the front page is news about the Great Exhibition. Public experiments to demonstrate brand new scientific ideas, cultural exhibits from around the globe. It's also positive and hopeful about the coming century. We must all go to see it properly before too long. Alright, that was fluff. Well, let's add on to the gloomy mood, and then we'll click on the new one. Are you investigating a particularly tricky case at the moment, Mr. Sholmes? You could say that, I suppose. Nothing more to add? That's not like you. What sort of case is it? Shh! Quiet, Mr. Naruhodo. We must not discuss it here. You never know who might be listening. Well, that's eerie.
You're acting very strangely, Hurley.
What do you mean, Iris?
Well, usually, the more mysterious and complicated a case is, the better Hurley's mood.
Ah.
Is it really a case that's bothering you?
Iris, please, you mustn't exercise your astute powers of observation and deduction on me without invitation. Remember what I always say. Put yourself in the shoes of the individual about whom you're making deductions. You say that, do you? You, Mr. Sholmes. Never mind. Once I've had a cup of tea, I must make my way at once to the crime scene. Oh god, not that guy again. if you've played the Ace Attorney games, you know who I'm talking about. That was a deep sigh. It says in the paper that Lord Van Zieks was attacked. That's terrible. You know the legend of the Reaper of the Bailey, of course, don't you? Only too well, in fact. Yes, Prosecutor Barak Van Zieks. Flashback time. They say that if the Reaper is the prosecutor in a case, there's no salvation for whoever's in the dock. Even if the defendant is found not guilty. Once the Reaper has someone in his sights, one way or another, that person's time left on this earth will be short. London's finest rogues always find the ways around the law. They'll stop at nothing to secure an acquittal at trial. Falsifying evidence, paying sham witnesses, threatening jurors, bribing judges. But even such devious tactics as these cannot save them from the hand of the Reaper. As you've experienced yourself, haven't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, I've seen the Reaper's retribution at work. Many of these criminal rogues are quite reckless and quite unafraid to die. If a leader among their fraternity is seen to have been taken by the Reaper, retaliation like this does occur. Really, the capital has a never-ending supply of such scoundrels. So, do you mean Lord Van Zieks has been attacked like this before? This isn't the first time? He's quite an accomplished combatant, you know. He doesn't take these attacks lying down. Although, it seems that his assailants were armed with guns this time. Oh my goodness! Is he alright then? Is Lord Van Zieks hurt? My dear fellow, how on earth would I know?
Well, in the article here it says, as to what of Lord Van Zieks and his condition, all will be revealed in tomorrow's morning edition.
Well, apparently he's not dead then, because that would be fucking evil for them to just go, oh, is he alive? Is he dead? You'll find out tomorrow! In Days of Our London. Oh boy. Fucking Downton Abbey, actually, since that one's based in England. Ah, I see. Well, we shall have to be patient then. No, I can't wait until tomorrow! In that case, you shall have to inquire with somebody in the know. But who? Lord Strawnheart, perhaps? Maybe. I mean, I thought that we would be going to the Great Exhibition first, but maybe we're going to Lord Strawnheart first. Well, I must be leaving now. Yes, understood. See you later, Mr. Sholmes. Ha! You really are a shameless liar sometimes, my dear fellow. What? You seek to put me off my guard and follow me, don't you? Well, you would be wasting your time. The thought hadn't crossed my mind, but now I'm wondering where you're going. Ha 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 ha! Well then, see you later indeed. Listen to him. He's still laughing on his way out of the door. Oh, that's an interesting outdoorsy gear.
All right then, Runo. Let's get going.
Oh, Iris, what are you wearing?
I've got change to go to the Great Exhibition. You're going to take me.
What? But I was just about to go to the Supreme Court.
Oh, well, that sounds fun too. You're going to take me there then.
She's got us at gunpoint. I love that. That's fucking hilarious. Alright, fine. Just lower that weapon, would you?
Of course. And after the Supreme Court, then we'll go to see the Great Exhibition.
Well, in an Ace Attorney game, it's never a good idea to make plans? Okay, whatever. Plans. It's never a good idea to make plans in an Ace Attorney game, because you never know what the hell they're gonna do. Well, I guess we're going to the Great Exhibition. After we go to the Lord Chief Justice's office, of course. I do like her outfit, her like winter outfit. I'm assuming that's what that is. It's weird because it kind of looks brownish blackish in that photo down there, but you know, it looks purple in the overworld when you're talking to her, I guess. There's those doves again. Is this the Crystal Tower or is this like the Supreme Court? Because both of them, I feel like, have a clock tower that are very similar. Alright. Lord Chief Justice's office. Is he here? It's been about 6 months now since I was last here, but some things never change. Like the sense of foreboding I always seem to feel in this place. I feel like that was the point. That's funny. It doesn't seem to be bothering Iris at all, though. She's happily reading over there. I think it's probably foreboding to you because of your position.
Oh, I love this place. I always find so many interesting books here.
Of course. I was forgetting that you've been here before. The time we came here 6 months ago. When Susato-san was given the news that she was to return to Japan. Yeah, that was then. How did I do his voice? It's been a while since I last did his voice. I want to say 6 months almost in real time since I last did his voice, which is kind of funny because it really has been 6 months since I've last been here. All right. I understand you wish to speak with me. Oh, Lord Stronhart. I trust you've been keeping well? Let's see. Since you arrived and requested an audience, it's been 4 hours, 32 minutes, and 26 seconds. I've kept you waiting a while. My apologies.
It's been 4 hours? Jesus Christ.
Oh no, not at all. I like nothing more than standing around staring into space. Good to know. Good to know that doesn't appear to bother him at all. Mail Stronhart, Lord Chief Justice of London. He's the man who allowed me to start practicing as a defense lawyer when I arrived in Britain as a student. You need only savor the air for a moment in this grand office to understand his preeminent status. As you will be aware, the Great Exhibition of London is now underway at last. We're extremely busy as a result, policing the grounds, guarding the new technologies, dealing with petty crime, and furthermore, as of next month, we shall open the International Forensic Science Symposium. Oh, really? Oh, I've not heard about that. Investigating authorities from 40 countries around the globe will be taking part, including from your own land. Oh, so we're gonna maybe meet up with Susato then. Forensic science is the future. The world must embrace it. As we're the hosting nation, I have much to do, and it is my highest priority. If others must wait for my attention as a result, so be it. Well, it's nice to know where I stand. So, you wish to consult with me? Of course, I can very well imagine what this is about. Thank you for agreeing to this meeting, my lord. I want to be allowed to start working as a I want to be allowed to start working as a defense lawyer again in court. For some reason, my brain thought that there should be an if at the beginning of that sentence, so it threw me off. That's what brought me here today. But actually, there's something else playing on my mind as it happens. Oh?
Bruno, just take a deep breath and come out with it.
Alright. Conversing it is. I actually came here today to ask for your permission. Go on. 6 months ago, my right to work in court as a lawyer was revoked when I was told to spend my time studying. Obviously, I'm very sorry for what happened, but the thing is... That's a little bit rude. It made me understand what it really means to defend somebody under the rules of a foreign justice system. And I desperately want to have another go. Please, permit me to enter the courtroom again. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? Ugh, here it comes. I'm sure you haven't forgotten your position here, have you? At best, you are a substitute for your compatriot. This was never your intended role. Well, that's true. The Japanese government actually sent my best friend on this study tour, not me. Should have been Kazuma. He was so determined to bring change to our own justice system at home. That was his calling. If that tragic accident hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here in this office now. So I've noticed this... The way that the Ace Attorney games like to do this is that when there's two that are interconnected like this, and they did this with the Miles Edgeworth investigation stuff too, they like to bring up events from the first game in sort of like a flashback if they're going to be relevant to the overall plot of this game. So the fact that they're bringing pretty much everything back is getting me a little more excited now. Mr. Asogi was my best friend, you see. That's why I can't leave it unfinished. I have to fulfill his calling for him. The man with his fucking Charlie Brown pattern on the wrists of his jacket. I forgot about that, and I just noticed it again. His calling, you say. Has it never occurred to you that perhaps you know nothing of his true calling? Sorry? The mission with which that young law student was charged. What do you suppose it really was? What do you mean? Mission? He's not making any sense. Oh? Are you going to drop a bombshell on us right now? Nope. Never mind. I've read all the reports you've submitted over the past 6 months. It's clear to me that you regret your actions and have been studiously obeying your revised instructions. Do you mean? As of this moment, I reinstate your license to practice law here in Great Britain. Thank you. Thank you so much. I would hope so, considering the fact that we probably are going to be standing in court in this case.
That's wonderful news, Runo.
In fact, I believe I have the perfect case to mark your comeback. A curious affair. You'll consider it, I hope. Of course. Please tell me more. A curious affair. You described it as a curious affair? Yes, that's right. I believe it was reported in the press. Are you aware that there was a serious accident at the Great Exhibition yesterday? Oh, no.
Yes, I read about it. A professor from Germany tried to carry out a crazy experiment. Let me see, how was it described? Super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, I think.
Instantaneous kinesis? As in moving things with a click of the fingers?
That's right. It's just what my herbal blends need, a dash of devil-may-care.
Whatever this serious accident was exactly, it's clearly captured Iris's imagination. It's an unfortunate business. A large explosion engulfed the public experimentation stage and a man lost his life. A certain Mr. Odie Asman. I feel like that's a pun that I don't realize yet. I'll think about it later. An investor and a well-known figure in society. A large explosion?
A man died?
The man responsible for the experiment was Professor Albert Harebrain. All right, that one's a little bit more easy to figure out. Easy to figure out. That's the term I'm looking for. He was detained immediately after the incident and is due to appear in court tomorrow on the charge of murder.
What? Murder?
If you intend to take on his defense, you should hurry to meet with him at the prison. There is very little time left for you to carry out any kind of investigation.
The Great Exhibition, a scientific experiment gone wrong, and murder? I feel out of my depth before I've even started. Still. We should go to the prison straight away then and try to meet with this German professor. Don't you think?
Definitely. Ah, yes, one more thing about the case. There's a certain connection with our mutual acquaintance, the Reaper.
Oh, with Lord Van Zieks? How?
All sorts of conferences have been taking place around the world to coincide with the Great Exhibition. And next month, the largest and most important of them will take place at last.
Of them all? Weird that my brain crossed those wires.
The International Forensic Science Symposium. I don't know why that's so fun to say. International Forensic Science Symposium.
It does seem as though criminal investigation needs to embrace scientific methods, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Ah!
London, the global epicenter of culture, science, and wealth, now has a population exceeding 6 million. Sadly, crime in the capital is growing at a similarly startling rate. So it's imperative that we use the latest scientific methods to investigate and resolve cases as efficiently as possible.
Which is what's known as forensic science, isn't it?
Exactly. The future of policing.
Ah!
Flinching at his grandiose gestures. Regrettably, however, Britain is currently dragging its feet when it comes to the adoption of forensic methods.
Oh dear, that's alarming.
Exactly. It's extremely alarming.
Ah!
If I were Her Majesty's Attorney General, you can be sure the numbers of crimes committed and resolved in London would be very different to the current figures. And I can cite 12 solid arguments and 223 individual reasons to support my claim.
Sorry?
By way of apology for keeping you waiting earlier, I shall detail everyone now. What?
Oh, how fascinating.
It all began 15 years ago. Oh my god. He's really, alright. We're blacking out, I guess. Prime drinking opportunity. Jesus Christ. Are we gonna have any time to investigate this case now? And that more or less sums up my feelings on the matter. In the simplest of terms, of course. Essentially to formally establish a forensic investigation division within Scotland Yard. That is my mission.
Oh, right. Yes. That's wonderful.
Exactly. Wonderful is precisely what it will be.
Something tells me someone doesn't want that to happen, so you're gonna be a fucking victim.
But probably of, like, the fourth or the last case. Not this one.
Iris isn't paying attention at all. She's got her nose in another book now. Oh, is it over? Did you learn anything useful?
I actually drifted off for the most part. He's surprisingly ardent about forensic science. Emma's ancestor. I don't know. Maybe. I think I have to present this to you. Or just look at this. Oh, is it the thing on the right that I have to click specifically? Every article on the front page is news about the Great Exhibition. Public experiments to demonstrate brand new scientific ideas, cultural exhibits from around the globe. It's also positive and hopeful about the coming century. Go see that properly. Nope, it's not this one. Oh, am I supposed to click on the back part? Reaper attacked. It's the kingpins of the criminal underworld generally managing to escape conviction in the Reaper's trials. And this isn't the first time their henchmen have tried to attack Lord Van Zieks as a result by the sound of it. It makes you think, if that's how the justice system works in London, then there must be dark forces at work. Yeah, that's a different line of dialogue, but I don't think there's... Do I have to examine something? Or do I have to present this to you? I forgot that I could do this. Oh, that reminds me. Have you seen this? The reports of the overwhelming success of the Great Exhibition? Of course. No, not that. The story on the back page. What story? The Reaper attacked. Ah, that. You've enjoyed some victories in court against my #1 prosecutor, have you not?
Poor Mr. Reaper. What happened to him? He wasn't killed, was he?
There's no need for concern. Lord Van Zieks would not be so easily dispatched, I assure you.
Can you tell us what happened? I'd really love to know.
Very well. If it interests you. It does, strangely. Alright. Well, I guess we have that now. Fortunately, Lord Van Zieks emerged from the attack unscathed. Street ruffians are no match for that man. He's a very capable fighter.
But that's incredible. They were armed with guns. Why was he attacked, though? Do we know?
It's related to events that occurred a month ago. A leader of one of the capital's criminal organizations was indicted and prosecuted by Van Zieks. But the man was acquitted. I've no doubt large sums of money were involved behind the scenes.
Large sums of money?
A deplorable situation. Members of the jury were bribed, it seems. However, despite winning his freedom, the man in question met a dramatic end yesterday.
But you're not suggesting that was the work of the Reaper, surely?
The victim's henchmen certainly seemed to think so. He was a man by the name of Asman, Mr. Odie Asman.
Oh, so that's how it's related. Did you say Asman? That's the man who died in the big explosion at the Great Exhibition.
Yes, known publicly as an investor, but in reality, the head of a significant criminal organization.
Why was he involved with the Great Exhibition like that? Unbelievable.
I wonder, could I ask you something, Lord Strongheart? Try me.
Why do you use Lord Van Zieks as a prosecutor? All the criminals who manage to get off in court then meet with mysterious ends outside the courtroom, and fearful of that fate, they seek to strike at Lord Van Zieks first. I know there's no evidence that he actually is the Reaper in that sense, but still, something's clearly going on here.
I have Van Zieks work for the prosecution service for 2 reasons. Firstly, the man is the best prosecutor in the capital, bar none. And secondly, any deaths of criminals that have occurred outside the courtroom following his trials are nothing to do with him.
But that doesn't make any sense. How can you explain the way so many have died if not by someone's hand?
Van Zieks may have earned himself the moniker of the Reaper, but he is no killer. So he will continue to prosecute on behalf of the Crown. Unless he wishes otherwise, of course.
That's true. He did wish otherwise at one point.
Well, I must be leaving for my next engagement. I'm already 11 hours and 16 minutes late. My colleagues may be starting to fidget.
11 hours late? That's quite something.
That meeting had already started when I arrived back here for this engagement with you. So lateness was inevitable. Time stops for no man. I'm sure it stopped for me during those 12 solid arguments and 223 reasons. That's true, he has been here for 7 hours. Oh boy. Are we sure that it's not like nighttime out now? Because we were already waiting for 4 hours, and now we've been waiting for somewhere under 7 hours, I'm assuming. So it would probably be evening time. Maybe nighttime. Oh, yes, where would I find Lord Van Zieks now? I would assume he's at his office. Right, I'll go and ask him about the attack in person. I want to get this straight from the horse's mouth. Ooh, interesting. First time we've been there. Away with you now. I'm leaving Professor Harebrain's defense entirely in your hands. Of course, yes. Thank you very much, my lord. Well, that was something. I suppose we need to... Yep. What did she say? I'd love to strip that big clock apart, you know. Alright, so let's go here and talk to our client. The warden said cell 11. That's the one. That's this one.
Oh, there's someone curled up in a ball in the back corner.
I don't know why that sentence makes me laugh. What's his name again? Professor Albert Harebrain, wasn't it? Excuse me, Professor Harebrain. Who are you? I forgot that I have to come up with a voice for this guy. He's German, right? We gotta have like a nerdy German scientist voice. Who are you? I apologize to all German people. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo. A lawyer! Ah, was it something I say? Was it something I said? Was it something I said? Oh my god. Get my brain straight for a second.
A lawyer, you say? Would you be here about the experiment? Are you going to defend my hypothesis?
Your hypothesis? Sorry, I don't...
Yesterday's demonstration! That magnificent demonstration was... It was an out-and-out success by anyone's calculations. But despite that, no one listens. No lawyer believes in the science. When it's explained, they all leave at high velocity.
Now's probably not a good time to mention that your zeal made my concentration leave for a while, too. Mine as well, Ryunosuke. Okay. So, tell me about this demonstration. You mentioned the demonstration yesterday.
The papers have called it a spectacular failure. After all, a man died in the explosion, didn't he? Yes, you could interpret the results that way if you really wanted to. Well, I suppose in the strictest sense, the experiment was a failure. But at the same time, it was a great success.
You've lost me.
I saw it with my own eyes, right there in front of me. Mr. Asmund was spontaneously disassembled. Until then, everything was going exactly as my calculations had predicted. At that point, he should have been beamed to the crystal tower by instantaneous kinesis. However, the machine exploded and Mr. Asmund in fact perished.
Oh, wrong voice. The machine exploded and Mr. Asmund in fact perished?
Yes, I can't deny that part of the experiment was a failure.
So what you're really saying is the large explosion that killed Mr. Asmund was an accident, correct?
But the bigwigs had you arrested on suspicion of murder. I was responsible for a man's death. That is the immutable truth here. And for that, I wish to be punished. At once! But... murder? Never in a million years. It was an accident. Simply an accident.
I see.
Hurley and I were talking this morning, you know. He said the situation would change completely depending on whether or not it was treated as an accident or murder.
How exactly?
Well, if it really was an accident, then the professor's machine would be kept in protective custody.
On what grounds?
Ah, yes, it's newly established here in Britain. The Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act.
SDSEA. That one passed me by.
But if the case is treated as murder, then they'll say they'll say my machine is the...
Oh my god, stop switching between different people.
Then they'll say my machine was the murder weapon, and they'll be able to pore over it as much as they like. If they examine it in detail, they'll find out how it's made, and then they'll be able to copy my idea. My precious hypothesis will be stolen. The machine must be protected from that at all costs. That's why it's imperative that this whole incident is shown to have been an accident in tomorrow's trial.
But what if he didn't die from your explosion? What if he was killed by someone else? That's the big question right here. Because if they think it was murder, they probably have a good reason to suppose that it blew up as of the result of one of your actions, right? Which means that if they're right on that action, then we need to figure out who committed that action that wasn't you. Which means, on top of all of that, we're stretching here, but which means, on top of all of that, that someone is killing the Reaper's acquittals that deserve to be found guilty. And we might figure out who that is in this trial, which could open a huge can of worms. Just saying that now. I see now. So, instantaneous kinesis. Why don't you try your best to explain to a commoner like me what the hell this means? So, in short, there was a terrible accident at the Great Exhibition Showground yesterday.
Yes! Or rather, no. The devil is in the details. Strictly speaking, there was a terrible explosion.
Sounds the same to me.
You were demonstrating super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, weren't you? How fascinating. Humans, like all matter, are made up of particles that are held together by electrical bonds. So it must be possible, using a sufficiently high voltage, to break those bonds and beam the particles through space. That's it in a nutshell. That's my idea, you see? That's my amazing hypothesis.
Gosh, that's unimaginably high-level science.
Oh, but dare to imagine it. Dare to dream of such incredible technology. Just think, one moment I could be here in this cell, and the next, I could be at the Great Exhibition again.
You probably don't want the guard hearing you say that. Well, yes, that would be incredible. And the next,
in the mere blink of an eye, I could be at the Great Parisian Theatre, say. The possibilities are endless. The whole of our vast planet would be within reach.
And we still haven't figured out how to do teleportation properly. So, no more hiding in wardrobes on rocky seas for 50 days? Relatable.
I don't really see it like that.
What do you mean, Iris?
Well, if you could travel anywhere in the world instantly, the planet wouldn't really seem vast anymore, would it? I think it would feel like it had shrunk. My word! That's exactly right! What are the implications? What does this mean? Oops, that's got Professor Bunnybrain really worried by the look of it.
Clearly, this is yet another case of just because you can doesn't mean you should, I suppose. That should be a life lesson for everyone nowadays, but apparently not.
The point is, my calculations are flawless. The science works. But without a practical demonstration, it means nothing. And that's always the fly in the ointment. Is it because practical
Oh. Not is it. I don't know where I got that from.
Because practical demonstrations cost a lot of money. Money that young scientists like you don't have. That's exactly it, yes. Curly's always complaining about it. He says the government should invest more in science. Well, anyway, I bumped into him at the right time. I met the well-known investor, Mr. Asman.
The victim who died in yesterday's terrible accident, you mean? See, another question here is why would he have, jumped on this this technology? Maybe he was going to use it to like rob things as part of the criminal organization. Because I mean, you could just teleport straight into like the fucking royal treasury or some shit and steal their crown jewels or whatever. Then again, we have had a few robberies that we don't know exactly how they were perpetrated in old cases in the Great Ace Attorney series so far. So maybe this sort of technology has actually been around for a little bit and they've already perfected it. I don't know. Maybe. The full name of the man who died in yesterday's accident was Mr. Odie Asman, wasn't it? What exactly was your relationship with the man?
He first visited me in my laboratory in Germany a year ago now. He said he wanted to invest in my immaculate hypothesis. I thanked my lucky stars.
I see. So you hadn't really known each other until then.
Money for scientific research. I'm so envious. As far as I was concerned, the man was an angel.
Oh, really?
An archangel, even. He was prepared to fund a practical demonstration of my hypothesis for presentation at the Great Exhibition. And if that went well, I could expect additional financial support for my research from the British government. Mr. Asman provided me with money and an exceptional engineer.
Oh, really? Who's that?
He produced a machine to my precise specifications. But then your dreams were blown to dust in one enormous explosion. As you can see, I owed everything to Mr. Asman. I would never, ever have thought of taking the man's life.
Well, he seems genuine enough. I don't think he's lying. I guess show him... I guess we have to present... Can I No, my badge. That was accidental, but it'll be funny.
Ah, fascinating, yes!
In Japan, where I come from, it's the symbol of a defense lawyer. Wearing it is very bracing, I find.
Your words make some sense to me, but they are entirely illogical.
What do you mean?
Well, for example, I find this white laboratory coat that I wear for my work very bracing too. However, in my case, there is a perfectly logical reason for that feeling.
Oh, really? What is it?
I purchased the wrong size by mistake. This one is too small for me.
That's actually funny.
The sleeves, especially, are extremely bracing. I can barely move my wrists.
That's what you call logical, is it?
Of course, it's entirely logical. That's science, Mr. Naruto.
Sure. This?
How could this have happened?
You must feel awful. As well as a man losing his life, the Crystal Tower was greatly damaged too.
I know what happened. It must have been that.
That?
The day before the demonstration, I had my usual meal of frankfurters at the hotel restaurant. When I paid the bill, they gave me 3 shillings too much in change. But instead of saying anything, I just slipped the coins into my pocket. They're still there now! It's divine retribution for my wrongdoing. That's what this is.
For a scientist, he has some very illogical anecdotes. Long and illogical. Alright. Can I swap to people? Apparently not. I could swap to people in the court record, I just can't swap to people. Yeah, it looks like I'm done talking to him. I mean, I've presented everything and talked to him, so I guess we go here. Oh boy. What an office. Oh, he's got like 30 chalices and a fucking chest over there. I love it. Wonder what that model is over there. Does he make, like, models of the crime scenes? On the thing there? Oh, he totally does, because there's the ray. The big scientific thing. He's got a phonograph. 3 bottles of wine that he breaks. Chess set. It's very Miles Edgeworth-like. Now that the chess set's there.
Ooh, so this is the legendary Reaper's office.
Yes, it appears so.
It sends a chill down your spine, doesn't it? What an amazingly deathly atmosphere.
Oh, is that? I'm guessing that's him. That hooded figure was so still I hadn't noticed his or her presence. I wonder who it is. What are you doing here? Ah! Oh, it's not. Interesting. He's as unwelcoming as I thought he'd be. Actually, maybe even more so. Oh, I'm glad to see you're well. I am. So, who's the person over by the wall being punished for something or other? No punishment is taking place here. Oh. That's my apprentice, and he's sitting there of his own free will. I didn't know you had an apprentice. Oh, maybe, yeah. Maybe that's the guy in the cloak on the newspaper. I wondered who that was. He's very able in combat, a requisite skill for anyone under my tutelage. Are you referring to the attack on the Reaper that was reported in the papers? The Reaper? I'd be interested to know the Reaper's true identity myself. Assuming, that is, such a fabled fiend genuinely inhabits our great courtrooms. Alright. I guess we'll keep going then. Lord Strongheart said that the assault last night was some sort of revenge attack? True. Carried out by henchmen of Odie Asmon's criminal organization. The investigation meant their arrests were imminent. Presumably some hoped to kill me before that happened. Odie Asmon. He's always masqueraded as one of London's most powerful financiers, a global investor. But his enormous wealth came to him by underhanded means, via his criminal activities.
And he used that money to buy himself a verdict of not guilty when he found himself in court, didn't he? Being prosecuted by you, Mr. Reaper.
But the man got his comeuppance in the end. Yesterday, in fact, in extraordinary circumstances, it was a most unusual cause of death.
I know about that. It was a super high voltage instantaneous kinesis gone wrong. Mr. Asmon died when the demonstration on the public experimentation stage ended in an enormous explosion. Ended in an enormous... I can't make this. I can't make that alliteration up. In an enormous.
Correct. And you think I have some kind of divine ability to cause an accident like that to happen, do you?
Well, no, that does seem a little far-fetched.
If this man really is the fabled Reaper, then he has to be innocent of this particular death, at least.
It's strange how this has worked out, hasn't it, Runo?
Isn't it, Runo? God.
I mean, what with you taking part...
Oh my god.
What with you taking on the professor's defense for the trial tomorrow?
I feel like I'm trying to read too fast. What? You're going to be defending him? Oh, yes, that's right. Though I barely know the man's name yet, to be honest. Albert. Albert Harebrain. That's right. Do you know him by any chance? Of course. He's a contemporary of mine. We were at university together. You're...
What?
Ooh, that's an interesting plot point here. I'd understood that Professor Harebrain was from Germany, though. Harebrain's from a respectable British family. After graduating from the University of London, he moved to Germany to carry out research. That's all.
So you were students together?
I was in the Faculty of Law, of course, and he in Science, so our paths rarely crossed. But curiously, we got along, though I've not met him since my university days. I certainly didn't expect our next encounter to take this form. And with you, of all people, representing him. If only I made it out of... Only if I make it out of this office alive.
He's actually been charged with murder, it seems.
Yes, I know. Because the prosecution will be handled by me.
By you? But you made it sound as if the professor and you had been friends.
If the you and the professor had been friends. We are friends, it's true.
Then why would you do this? If the Reaper is the prosecution, there's nothing anyone can do to save him. He's doomed.
We beat him every single time. And none of our clients that have actually been acquitted have died. Though most of them are Soseki.
What's Lord Van Zeek's thinking?
What do you mean by what you said before? If you'd like to know the Reaper's true identity, does that mean... I'm a crown prosecutor and a mortal like any other. I'm no demigod.
But they've all died, haven't they? The people you've prosecuted, I mean. Whether or not the trial ended in a conviction or an acquittal.
Those I prosecute are the vilest wretches of our society. People who without question deserve to be found guilty. The world is a better place without them.
But that's not true of Mr. Natsume, for example. He wasn't a vile wretch at all. Nor was Ginny. In fact...
Ginny? Is it Ginny or Guinea? Because I know who she's talking about, of course. My favorite character from the first game, but... I'm gonna go with... Ginny. I'm gonna go with Jenny for now.
Nor was Jenny. In fact, she's ever so hard-working now.
I can't deny that since I encountered you, things have taken a turn. But the point is this. If any of those vile wretches that escaped justice subsequently died in mysterious circumstances, it was at the hand of their own kind. It's not my work.
Lord Strongheart said the same. He believes you're not involved in any way. But you were attacked by those ruffians because they believe it's true.
The fact is, since people started to call me the Reaper of the Bailey, the number of serious crimes in the capital has dropped substantially.
Oh.
It would appear that even the most hardened criminals can be made fearful for their lives.
Do you mean to say...
I mean to say that if my pseudonym serves a useful purpose, I adopt it gladly and with honor.
But it's putting you in danger. You could be killed.
If that is my fate, let God decide.
Lord Van Zeek's? Ooh. Interesting. Well, we've covered those three talking points, and I'm sure we'll probably have to either present things or, examine this grandiose office. And I think we'll start by examining his office in the next part. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, feel free to support by subscribing or just liking the video, because it gets shared with more people when there's more engagement from you guys. So, yeah, gonna be uploading once a day from now until this game is finished, and then we will be jumping into Kirby and the Forgotten Land when it comes out on March 25th. So that'll be fun. See you guys in the next part when we investigate Van Zeek's office.